To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. We all play musical chairs. These are Mr. Platt, would you like to do an attendance roll, please?
Thank you, Madam President. Mayor Roman.
Here.
President Percy.
Here.
Vice President Capabianco. Mr. Bull.
Here.
Mr. Costa. Here. Mrs. Janak.
Here.
Mrs. Hayes.
Here.
Mrs. Skrobak.
Here.
Chief McEwen.
Here.
Mr. Ward.
Here.
Mr. Day.
Here.
Mrs. Stillwell.
Present.
Mr. Zaghi. Absent. Mr. Kalanowitz.
Here.
Ms. Marks. Absent. You're good to go.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, has everybody had a chance to read the February council meeting minutes? If so, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I will make a motion to pass last month's minutes.
Second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved. Mr. Secretary, do you have any correspondence?
I have one letter. It's rather lengthy, so I'm not going to read the whole thing. Ms. Shirley Percival, Borough of Parkside. Dear Mrs. Percival, on behalf of Keep Pennsylvania Beautiful's Board of Directors, affiliates, staff, and volunteers, I would like to personally thank you for your donation of $100, helping to make our communities a cleaner place. Your support helps provide critical resources to advance our mission, support our affiliate network, and increase consumer engagement across the Commonwealth. Please accept our enclosed thank you gift, zipper pouch, which I've yet to see, as a token of our appreciation. And just as an FYI, a reminder to the residents, borough office will be open this Saturday and next from 8 to 12 for the payment of taxes and any other business you might want to conduct. And due to an unforeseen circumstance, the office on Friday will not open until 11.
Super, thank you.
And that is all.
Mayor, did you have a report this evening?
Crimes reported in February, there were 6. Calls of service, there were 100. The most prevalent medical emergencies, there were 12. Suspicious persons, there were 4. Building checks, 8. Assist other agencies, 16. Domestic is 6. Service call alarms were 9. Accidents, there were 2. Traffic details, 16. Motor vehicle stops, 13. Traffic citations, 3. Warnings, 11. Non-traffic citation, 1. That's it.
Thank you. Any questions for the mayor? Moving on, I understand Chief Lamy is in school this evening. Does anybody have a fire company report?
I do not.
I do, I have the report. Parkside Fire Company, Chief's report for February 2025. Chief Lamy asked me to read it as the captain. The fire company responded to 41 calls for the month of February, 4 fires, 21 rescue medical services, 6 hazardous conditions, 2 AFAs, 1 special incident, 4 false alarms, 3 good intent calls. Firehouse update, we currently have 1,500 feet of 5-inch hose in New Jersey undergoing inspection, repairs, or replacement. To streamline the process, I've been working directly with the insurance company, which will now make payments directly to the hose company. This eliminates unnecessary delays and should expedite the hose's return, ensuring our department remains fully equipped. Dual dispatch and increased call volume. We have implemented a dual dispatch system with the Upland Fire Company, a collaboration that will enhance emergency response for both communities. As a result, we anticipate an increase in calls. In fact, our call volume has already risen compared to last year, 87 calls by the end of February, up from 7 at the same time last year. To maintain our service levels, we are actively seeking volunteers to join our firefighting team. If you're a resident who's looking for a healthy hobby to serve your community, volunteering with us is a great opportunity. Grant initiatives and funding efforts. Securing funding remains a top priority to support our firefighters and operations. I recently engaged with State Representative Carol Kazim regarding the ambulance grant. Upon their request, Lisa Catania promptly provided a copy, and I officially submitted the grant application Tuesday. The State Representative's office is now drafting a letter of recommendation to strengthen our application. Additionally, in the past month, I have submitted 3 grant applications, one for 17 sets of new firefighting gear, one for new laptops to enhance station operations, one for a $5,000 grant to support department needs. We are optimistic about the outcomes and remain committed to seeking additional funding opportunities. Equipment and facility updates. To improve operational efficiency, some equipment has been rearranged on our engines. Additionally, thanks to the efforts of Joe Greenlaw, TAC 45 is now equipped with green lights, ground lighting, Go Eagles, enhancing visibility and safety. We appreciate our council's continued support as we work to improve emergency services and safety for our residents. Submitted, Chief Dave Lange.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we have called to citizens for agenda-related items only. If you have a question concerning something on the agenda, now's the time to ask. Hearing none, we'll move on to the President's report. We've received a fully executed contract and payment request form for the grant that we received last fall. Once the invoices have been received, we will submit them to the state as per their instructions. We had a zoning hearing this month, and I'd like to thank the board members for their dedication to the borough. The board denied the application. Our financial statements pursuant to DCED regulations have been prepared by our auditor. When we come further in the agenda, you will note that the county aid decreased this year. The monies are based on the tax collections by the state sent to the county and forwarded to the municipalities. The decrease was slight, $140. I'd like to remind everybody that our streets are public streets. We have no way of regulating parking spots. If somebody has 1, 2, or 3 vehicles, we have no way of regulating that. Not only does this go for our public streets, but it also applies to public lots such as Parkside Terrace. I understand through talking with our chief, the police department monitors illegal vehicles on our streets and in these individual parking lots, and I thank you, Chief. As everyone is aware, there has been some controversy as to if Crozier and Taylor hospitals will be closing. There has been a wonderful amount of support by our local representatives, county level and state level. Our council here totally supports keeping these hospitals open. We need to see where this is going and be prepared in case it affects our community's emergency management services. Various committees have been formed throughout the county government to get abreast of this situation. If, and I hope it's not necessary, a multi-municipal agreement for emergency services would be needed, this council would have to appoint a committee to be guided by our fire marshal, Mr. Smith, our fire chief, Dave Lamy, and Mr. Wills as our solicitor. We must keep positive that a solution will be found to keep these hospitals open and emergency services open. Delaware County has a wellness telephone number that you can contact them at 484-276-2100 for general information. I will keep council apprised as we go through this process. If I hear any further information, I'm sure that something will come up and we have to keep positive. Unless anybody has any questions, we'll move on to the finance report. Mr. Dr. Bull.
Thank you, Madam President, ladies and gentlemen, and members of council. The report to the Borough of Parkside, date March 13th, 2025, meeting March 19th, 2025. All bank accounts are reconciled through February 28th, 2025. We are including the bank reconciliation and statements for all reconciled funds for council's approval. General fund for the month of February, $43,799.49 was deposited into TD Bank. Expenses of $37,941.50 were paid during this time. $67,771.23 of deposits were received into the Sharon Bank General Fund account, and $177,346.38 of expenses were paid, including payroll of $50,280.42. Year-to-date interest income across all accounts totals $1,731.43. I like to be accurate. Below are the bank balances per bank statements on February 28th, 2025, which is General Fund Sharon Bank balance $32,457. General account TD $57,805.26. General account Pliget $487,213.02. The rest, I don't want to say are de minimis. Liquid fuels is at like $26,499. And all transactions that flowed through Sharon Bank, General Fund, and TD Bank, these are all attached. Sorry about that. It would be I would like to make a motion to accept the treasurer's report.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed?
Thank you. My apologies on stammering through it. Sometimes that happens.
Keep going.
I'd like to make a motion to accept to pay the bills.
I'll make that motion.
Second. Any questions on the motion? Mr. Secretary, would you do a roll call, please?
On paying the bills?
On paying the bills.
Mr. Bull,
Yes.
Mr. Capabianco,
Abstain.
Mr. Costigan,
Yes.
Mrs. Giannakis,
Yes.
Mrs. Haynes,
Yes.
Mrs. Percival,
Yes.
Mrs. Skrobak.
Abstain from check number 1848 to Parkside Fire
Sorry,
Company.
check number.
1848.
Thank you. 5 yeses, 2 abstentions.
Thank you. Doug, do you want to keep going on open space?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. Ladies and gentlemen, we were doing our, weekly, monthly walkthrough of the wood lot and noticed there were indeed a number of the ashes that had started to fail with what we call defined targets. So I had pictures and I was trying to send them from my phone, so that's my apologies. If anybody wants to walk the trail with me, I'm more than happy to point out where we have just excessive rot, trees that have been undermined, completely dead, over trails, over street lights, over exercise equipment and things like that. So I started to ask around to get a few bids. And the reason there's 2 bids here that I would like to get approved, both of them, is they both have very unique pieces of equipment. And since they're tree guys, they didn't clarify. The one that's from Freedom Outdoor Services, he has a spider lift, which means he doesn't have to gain access to the trees that are actually hazardous. And that work he basically put $5,000 in because it's a day rate for the piece of equipment. And he's going to do some extra work for it as well. Goddess. That's for the upper trail that's on kind of sort of the backside of the houses that goes all the way down to where the trail for Chester Creek starts, as far as that goes. And then the other one was the hazard trees that would fail on that second trail that goes, I don't know if you guys know where there's like just 2 massive poplar trees that are, and then there's a trail that cuts down between them. And those are a little bit more accessible from that stone driveway at the bottom for like bucket trucks and cranes and things like that. So that's where this other number came from. They both identified the Christmas trees in there because I said it, but they weren't charging us for it. So there may be a possibility that we won't be invoicing exactly. We won't be invoiced exactly what the quotes are, so maybe lower as far as that goes. But I wanted to at least be out in front with like, why there's 2 separate ones and they both fit the bill for the work we need to get done. And there is a lot of material that's on the ground that, Ryan's cut up over the years from trees that have fallen and things like that. And it does start to become a place where it's going to stop new plants from coming up. It's going to harbor, I don't want to say rodents and things like that, but at a certain point, it's not a natural wood lot if it just has stacked debris everywhere. And it's not going to be healthy for the forest. And it's kind of the start to hopefully getting that grant, the Green Region grant for the planting. So it'll open everything up a little bit, and it'll give us a safer site. It'll be the second phase. If anybody remembers last year, we spent, and I didn't get a chance to grab that number, but I think it was at least 16,000. The scope on this work for roughly 11,000 is almost twice as much as far as scope. Hazards higher, and access is more limited. So I thought there was good value for the borough all the way across. And if there's any questions, this is kind of what I do for a living, but I don't have the company I work for post bids anymore. But I know if it's a fair deal as far as that goes. So if anybody has any questions, let me know. If not, I would entertain, I hope you guys would vote for it so we can get these
Anybody
guys
have any
started.
questions concerning these two estimates? Then I'll entertain a motion to accept both estimates to clean up the woodlot area, removal of identify dead trees, remove damaged leaves throughout. Also to use a utility truck lift to take down 4 ash trees, identify risk of failure, chip and remove debris, remove the large dead wood from the 2 tulip trees along and going through the walking path, for a total of approximately $11,900.
I'll second.
Any questions? All those in favor? All those opposed? So moved. Mr. Bull, you'll notify the companies and give us a start date?
Mr. Bob is great with doing that.
I'm sorry?
Mr. Bob's great with doing
Yeah.
that.
Bob, you'll notify us?
We'll notify you, I'll notify them.
And I want to thank you everyone. And if you ever want to take a quick walk through and see what we're talking about, it really has gotten to a point where the threshold isn't just a natural wood lot. It's just the tree, and I don't want to say over mature. The trees we had a disease that went through. We had spotted lanternfly, we had the emerald ash borer.
Yeah.
We had really strong winds. We have older trees. So it was a confluence of, it'll be a good start when we get the Green Region grant.
Let's start to clean up.
I think it'll make it nice. And there's been a lot invested down there, and it shouldn't look like it hasn't. So, but thank you, everyone.
Do you have anything else?
With that, I will report general progress.
Super. Any questions for Mr. Broll? Moving on to junior council report, Mr. Costigan.
Thank you, Madam President. Just before I turn it over to Daniel, I just want to mention that Brianna had her appendix removed. So she's not here tonight. So, best wishes on her full recovery from that.
Did she do well?
Yeah, she's just recovering from the surgery, so,
Okay.
but she just wanted to let me know that she couldn't make it, so it's understandable.
I think that's an excused absence.
Mr. Platt, would you send her a little bouquet of flowers to cheer her up from council?
So I'll turn it over to Daniel.
So I just have a little mini report from last week when I was up with Mr. Bull talking with the landscapers. While they were going over the trees, we asked them to see about the memorial garden, and they pretty much told us this week that we will have the support to get the bed framing done and mulch the area. So that'll set us up to be able to start planning during Earth Day weekend. And pretty much we also want to get the garden memorialized during Memorial Day weekend, but that's pretty much about it. I'm going to start getting ready to, look at flowers and other things that we'll need for the garden whenever that's done, but that's about it.
Just report general progress.
Gregory, I'm sorry?
No,
I have one thing.
Go ahead.
Both of the companies said they would donate time for that, for the park.
That's great.
I wanted to keep it separate, but they did. They both said, yeah, we'll kick a little something in.
donate is free, so that's.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, thank you. I do have a question. Did you start looking to get a plaque put down there yet?
Sort of. Me and my mom talked about it like a little while ago, but we haven't like looked into it recently.
Yeah, I'm gonna find out the company that does Tun Tavern. They did a really nice one with the Marine back down in Upland, so I have to contact the gentleman.
Super, thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Do you want to go on with your recreation report?
Yes, thank you, Madam President. First of all, I want to thank our volunteers. They continue working hard to make our events fun and memorable as possible. With the different people, we have different opinions, different ideas, and that's what makes us work together really great to make our events what they are. The VIP dance that had gotten postponed a couple times, so I'd like to apologize to everybody again for the inconvenience that had caused by continuing to reschedule it. But also to thank the residents for their patience. On March 8th, we were able to have our VIP dance. Everybody seemed to have a great time. The music was provided by DJ Nick. Great job. The pizza, so we've been going to a pizza place in Woodland. It's one of our Parkside residents. The place is called Rocco's, great pizza. We had strawberries and all that donated, so some were like chocolate covered strawberries, something different we were trying to do. The Easter bingo was March 15th. That was our second Easter bingo. It was a great event. Our upcoming events are going to be the egg hunt down at the Woodlot on April 12th at noon. Community Day. Councilwoman Alice can elaborate more on the Community Day. And then if anybody has taken pictures of any of our events, would you please tag us, hashtag Parkside Rec 2025. In June, we're also looking to do a movie. We're not sure about it yet. The Recreation Committee volunteers will be out delivering our event flyers again. The weather's calmed down, so we're going to be out in full force delivering them again. Always keep up with our events between the flyer, our Facebook page, Parkside Recreation Committee. We also have a new Instagram page. Keep up with the page to enjoy updates in the Recreations newsletter, which includes past and upcoming events. Crystal Moore, she's not here to argue with me. She'll be putting another one of the newsletters together for us, and it'll be on our page. You can also email us at parksiderec19015@gmail.com. Remember, we're always looking for volunteers that are serious about helping with our community events. So again, Councilwoman Allison, if you have anything to
I
add.
don't. I think that was great. The only thing I'll add is just if anybody ever has any questions about our events, dates, times, if anything, people want to donate something or have a question about it, you can always call the borough or just email us at the Gmail and we'll respond.
And your volunteers should be thanked immensely. They do a great job.
Yes,
They do a great job.
I thank them every time we have our meetings.
I have one question. Do you have a head count from the dance?
The dance, no, but I will be giving, I guess, the money to you after the meeting. I'll give you the money from the dance.
Any questions for the mayor? Then we'll move on to police public safety. Vice President Capabianca.
Thank you, Madam President. I report general progress for public safety and code officer. And for license inspection, the month of February, permits were given to one building and one mechanical. And I can report general progress.
Super, thank you. We're going to go on to ordinance, resolution, and grants. Mrs. Burbank.
Thank you, Madam President. Good evening. Lisa Catania and I met and been working on, but on hold right now, for the Delaware County Greenways Grant. We have put together a study committee and they have been informed on when we will proceed to move forward on that because, we don't want to miss out on that money. Also, I just wanted to make a note to residents that we have received, I all the time in my email get information sent to me about grant information and what's out there, and I get it through the state as well as what's out there. And I have learned through Mrs. Catania and our president about that it's just, first of all, it's not easy to just go after these grants. There are numerous pages, a lot goes into them. What we're looking for are grants with no match, no amount needed to pay upfront. We, as you are aware, have had to set aside a budget every year, and we have to plan for the next year on what type of money we need to set aside for everything that we have going on. We do set aside money for grants, but the ones that are getting sent to me now, I can't do because they are ones possibly with a match or there's money that we have to pay up front. And we didn't allot for those particular grants. Again, they're out there, but also even if they are free, they could require multiple pages to have to be filled out, which then I would need help with as well because I'm still learning myself about them. They're not as easy as just a one pager. And then you have to also state what you are going to use with that. And so, for instance, with the Delaware County Greenways Grant, we're putting together a study committee. We're involving residents to help out with that and get their ideas. So I just wanted to put that out there because I do get a lot with my email, to my borough email, not just from, that our borough secretary Bob will forward to me, or to a council, but from, residents, and again, through the county. So I just wanted to put that out there. We are looking at them because of course, free money is great, right? So we want to get that as much as we can. So it's just something I want to, collaborate on a little bit more of.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Grants are not easy as everybody thinks. We've been very fortunate in the past to have obtained many, many grants, but the system has now come to the point where they're not out there. If they are out there, they want us to pay it forward in the costs that is beyond our budget.
Yeah, or they're free, but we'd also have to put the time and the work and find things and will be acceptable for the guidelines that we must meet.
And
So,
as I reported, I've signed off and we have received the contract for the HVAC grant, but we have to pay those bills first and submit that to the state to be reimbursed. So the forms Ms. Catania will fill out and forward the invoices, and then we will receive our monies back. But in the meantime, we're, short that money until the state coughs it up.
We did get the first invoice from Divine.
I'm sorry,
We did get the first invoice from Divine. I sent that out
I saw
today.
that. Moving on to Public Works Property, Ms. Allison.
Thank you. Just to follow up real quickly on what President Percival and Bob just mentioned, we're at the tail end of the HVAC project. We got one more unit to install. Oh, it's done?
It's done.
Oh.
It's done.
I don't know why, I was thinking we
Got
still had to do
finished?
it.
Got
No,
finished.
that's okay.
Last
That was
week.
quick,
Friday,
wow.
Thursday or Friday.
All right, perfect, even better. And that we have that first invoice that came in.
Tomorrow.
No, it's fine. We're getting ready for spring and summer grass cutting season, so, fingers crossed, hopefully we're done with the winter. We used around 35 tons of the rock salt in December up till today, I guess, with 6 winter storms that we needed our, Ryan and everybody to address. We still have 20 tons of that on hand for next season, so that's good. The speed bumps, which I'm sure everybody is interested in, will be installed in late April or May, so I'll keep you updated on that. And as usual, Ryan does a lot of work around here to keep just the borough maintained. Crosswalks are going to be repainted as soon as, the weather starts to get nicer, which today it was really nice. And also on that note, just with, continuing to maintain things in the borough, we haven't had to do this in a while, but we're ordering some new posts and some new signs and those accessories. So we're going to order a bunch of those so that we can replace ones that need it in the borough and then have some on hand for future use. So we're getting some spring cleaning done. And that's about it. If just, my usual ending message, if you have any emergency situations in the borough, please call 911. Other than that, as always, if you have any questions or you just want to make us aware of anything, call the borough. And with that, I can report general progress.
Super, thank you.
You're
Any
very welcome.
questions for Allison? Moving on to emergency management, Mr. Smith.
Good evening, Fire Marshal Emergency Management Report for February 2025. For Fire Marshal, there was no call-outs. Emergency Management, just to touch more on what President Percival said, for the EMS concerns, the Emergency Management, along with Council and the Fire Company, are working together to monitor the activities of Crozier Hospital and the EMS service for both the borough. The only other thing for notes is the second mailing went out. The inspections to start soon. We do have some business that are really slow to respond back this year, but if we have to, we'll do a third mail out.
Super, thank you. Any questions for Mr. Smith? Hometown Heroes, Mr. Costigan.
Thank you, Madam President. Unfortunately, we had no new applications for the Hometown Heroes program, either sent to the borough office or the online form. So it seems that the residents that were interested got their banners in the first few rounds of the program, so it doesn't seem like there's any interest out there. We've had that open for several months.
Well, I thank you and your committee for your efforts. I want the way you see.
Yeah, we can always open it again down the line. So I could just report general progress on Hometown Heroes. And
Mr. Secretary, would you please remove Hometown Heroes from the agenda for next month, starting next month?
And you want to move to recycling and trash? For the month of February, the totals were for trash 80.49 tons and recycling 16.77 tons.
Is there any possibility for an e-recycle event this year?
Sure, I can contact the vendor we used before. And is there any preference on a date for the recycling? Okay, I'll work on getting that scheduled.
Super, thank you.
Mhm.
Any questions for Mr. Costigan? Moving on to communication report, Mrs. Haynes.
Yes, the winter newsletter was delivered in January by Ryan. Thank you, Ryan. There was a typo in there. I apologize. The egg hunt is on 4/12. Also, see the Parkside Recreation newsletter that's going to get passed out and their Instagram and website, as Mayor Kim said. I've just been watching our council members and our borough and our events and our police to update the residents via the newsletter and social media. Our council members are very busy in our borough. Nick Capobianco is also got head trustee this year over at the fire department. Michelle Skroback got vice president over at the fire department. Theo has continued to do a great job doing our video team and our social media and our website. So if you have anything that you want to submit, and then council, you have in front of you just some ideas for upcoming articles, and please email me anything. I would love to update the residents with that. That's all I have.
Ms. Sarah, I'd like to see something in the newsletter concerning our upgrade and repair of the HVAC units. Because the one unit, I believe Ms. Catania said was from 2007. so that we are progressing to keep improving and keeping up with our building.
Yes, and maybe before and after of the trees too, in the woodland.
Doug, would you send some photos of the ones you were showing me this evening over to Miss Sarah so we can show the public what has happened along the trail, especially that one area where the trees are commingling across and falling down.
That's a nice way to say it.
Yes, and we're getting
Yeah.
Edgemont Avenue fixed, which is a big deal.
And that should be in the newsletter. And also, Chief, and I've asked you this before several times. Could you tell me when the new police cars will be in service and totally finished?
Tentatively,
I'd like to see that in the newsletter.
tentatively, they were supposed to be started this week.
Mhm.
I've not received confirmation. I would anticipate next week them being started. So I'd say within the next few weeks they'll be out.
Okay. I will ask that you please get with Miss Sarah and let's get a photo of the new car.
Yes.
Of the one new car, and show the public what they're going to see on the roads.
Absolutely.
Okay, I think that would be wonderful for them to see the hybrid vehicles that we've gotten. Even though the system isn't totally fixed, but.
And we could finish the police card project.
Yes.
Mhm.
Are we gonna have Chief McEwen stand next to the car?
Yes.
Yes. I just think that the public needs to see how much we've accomplished
Yeah.
since winter, moving on to, it's just spring. So as Miss Sarah said, if you have any ideas, any photos, let's get it out there for the next edition, please. And Michael, if you could get a date out there for the recycling. Sarah, when's your next,
Spring. So I'm working on probably next month would be the rough draft, and then I would get printed.
Michael, if you can set it up?
Sure.
Okay, and we can get the e-recycle event in there. We'll just pack it full. Any questions or ideas for Miss Sarah?
Can I just, I either do it in my report, since it's communications, Councilwoman Schrobeck had mentioned the study committee that's happening with the mini pros, the open space, and I think in our initial discussions with JMT, who's the consultant, they will be putting together a survey. So they typically give us a QR code. If we can get that to you for the newsletter, that way people are getting it. Please, if when you see that this survey is online, do it, because we need to understand what the residents want. It's your parks. It's not my park. It's not JMT's park. It's your park. So we need any ideas that you have. So anyway, I just like to throw that out.
Idea.
And then the other thing is, under the MS4 program, we are required to do educational pieces. So I'll ask Kristen Shorney, who does that MS4 plan for the borough, ask her to send something over to you, so that people are understanding what is required and what is prohibited to be done under the Water Quality Act. Okay, thank you.
Sarah, I see you have Parkside donated $100 to Aston Library. Would you also include that we donated $100 to Keep America Beautiful? Any other ideas, please send it over to Ms. Sarah. Mr. Secretary, did Mr. Fisher leave a report?
I actually have two.
Two?
The last one for
Don't
February,
spend any money.
the last one for February came after the meeting. So for the period February 1st to February 28th, there was $80,756.19 in revenue deposits. There was an additional $52,289.01 in revenue deposits from February 28th to March 19th. Total to date, $133,045.20.
Super, thank you. Moving on to the engineer's report, Ms. Catania.
Thank you, Madam President. We talked about it earlier, but I would ask that we consider the county aid resolution adoption this evening. As you noted, the county has, I want to say, further regulated the county aid program. County aid is the liquid fuels money the county gets, and they're giving it to the municipalities. Obviously, I think we're seeing some of this electric car where we're seeing less gas. We're getting less gas taxes, so we're seeing less aid for liquid fuels. I don't know whether our liquid fuels number from the state actually was less.
It was.
Was it? I didn't see that total. But I wanted to mention that we have to either decide that, yes, we're doing a road program and we will accept the money or for the county aid for this year, or we'll defer it till next year. We can only defer it for 1 year. So we'd have to use it next year. So-
County aid decreased by $140.
Yeah.
And we will move forward this evening with a discussion to do the road program.
Okay. So the other thing, Ab Initio, Mr. Wills put together a contract, sent it over to Ab Initio. I don't have it. I'm sure he has some sort of a status report for that. As we mentioned, all 4 of the units, there's 5 units that are in this building. The 5th unit was not completed. It's probably the most difficult we're gonna have to dismantle it in order to bring it down from the attic. So that's the one I chose not to do. It's, we have a change order for the 4th unit. We talked about it last month, having the additional funds to do that project. In the end, the total for the project was $81,490. We have $75,000 that is reimbursable through the LSA grant funding. So we will get we have 4 new HVAC systems in this building with new condensate lines for a little bit over $6,000. So I think we've done pretty well with that.
And can I interject that PICO will give us almost $1,000 rebate?
Right.
So it's like 5,500 we're on.
So that, I believe, is also on the agenda this evening, that change order. As I mentioned last month, we had our structural engineer come in and do an evaluation of some movement that we've seen in the police station administration office. He was able to get under the crawl space, but not through the whole crawl space. What we're seeing is there are animal holes around the pilaster where we see the deformation, we'll call it, in the floor. And we're also seeing that there's water intrusion there. So I'm not sure what's going on. We do have a storm sewer line, all of the downspouts, which I looked at the downspouts. It doesn't look like any of the downspouts are failed, that water would be getting out through. There's a huge hole if you go to the side of the building. Somebody put bricks trying, I guess, to keep whatever out. But
No.
that needs to be, yeah, at least we knew where the hole was.
Skunk.
But
It was a skunk?
Yeah.
I probably should have known that before Ryan went underneath there. Got skunked. You have tomato juice available in this kitchenette? Anyway, the reality is that nothing's failing, that it's a major issue, but it does need to be repaired. So I'm going to have, if everybody's okay with this, General Sewer come in and do a video of the line between the end side of the building and the fence. That line, you can see where the line is. You can see the cleanouts throughout. All of the downspouts tied to that line and tied to the inlet that's right next to the parking lot. So we need to make sure that none of that is broken. I don't see any depressions in that the line is broken, but we just want to make sure. I have a feeling that some of this water is because we've got that opening. So we'll see how that goes. Maybe tomorrow when it's raining really hard tomorrow night, I'll take a ride down and see what's going on under the building. But I just wanted to mention we're working on that. I also contacted Mike Fuller. Mike said that he had a report that 3 lights were not completed, 2 of which were on the catwalk. I went out there, the catwalk is completed. He has them as completed, but the 3rd light, I didn't go check. I spoke to Shirley last week, it was Thursday or Friday. I had that the light was Edgemont and Chelton, and she believes that it was Edgemont and Avon. So I need to check to make sure that was done. Otherwise, he has reported from Armor that all the lights have been completed.
I don't know.
Now, there's one on my block. I'll go around.
What I don't have a list of where the lights were
I will do that for you.
initially.
No, Mr. Grossen.
There you go.
Yeah, there's definitely still a few mercury vapors out there.
There-
Yeah.
I thought there were a couple on Forest View. Whether they're on the list, I don't know. And I was looking at them. Actually, I was coming from Granite Run Mall on Saturday and drove through. Don't worry, you'll get this big bill from me. I'm kidding.
Make the one on the highway.
Oh.
Stop flickering.
I just drove through, stopped, walked through, across the catwalk while I was coming through down. But anyway, I just wanted to mention that he has all of those. If we have the street lists, we probably need to go through it and make sure he said any of them that aren't done, he will absolutely make sure that they are completed. He has an invoice ready, but he hasn't given us the invoice until we're satisfied that all of them are completed. So, if we can get that done, we'll get to them.
204 East Rollins.
It's only been 3 years. Doug, do you know if those 2 lights, you can confirm those 2 lights on the catwalk are completed, as Ms. Kajania stated?
Yeah, I believe they're the higher
They're
intensity
the-
ones
yeah,
out there.
yeah.
So then we're missing, we feel several on Forest View, and then of
I
course.
know there's one on my
Edgemont.
block, 204, right across from 204.
That's the one that kept going off and on. Okay. Bob, do you have a list in that file somewhere of all the?
I don't know if there's a list in the contract or not. I told Lisa I would look at it and I just haven't done it yet.
Bob, I can tell you, I have the contract, but I don't have a list. So it may or may not be with your list. If worse comes to worse, I'm gonna call Mike
I'll
back
just tell him to
and
send
just
it.
ask him if he could please send a full list of replacement lights. He's been, any of the projects that we've done with him in other municipalities, been really helpful. So I know that if we ask him for it, he'll certainly supply it. I do have one other thing that I wanted to mention, and the Memorial Gardens at one point was going to be a rain garden.
Yes.
Is that still the case?
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
I thought the rain garden was going to be behind it.
The rain garden was supposed to be off to the center. It's supposed to be the Memorial Garden, and as you come down, not the main hill, but the little graded hill, there's an area there that we could put in that rain garden right there because of the way the slope is, not the big, I don't want to call it the sled riding hill, but, right beyond, on the other side.
Okay.
There's a little slope there that
So
would be perfect for a rain garden.
Joe has a design done for a rain garden, and the plan actually says Memorial Garden. So I want to make sure that number one, we're talking to the same thing. If it's a different area and it's a different project, then great. I need to also be able to tell Kristen Shorney that the rain garden that is on that plan, which is in our PRP for the MS4, is not what you guys are doing.
Yeah, 2 different things.
Okay.
And the reason we talked about a rain garden is because of that slope that comes down. It would be a perfect setting to use equipment to dig down and create that garden. Because I know you and I spoke about, you couldn't use it for an inverter, I was looking for one for free.
We
Maybe
have
a tractor.
we have a requirement under the MS4 to do a reduction in what's called total suspended solids out of
Right.
stormwater. And what part of that stormwater has to be water from impervious surfaces. So that's why I'm asking the questions, because we are required by the end of 2025 to have some work done with regard to that total suspended solids reduction. What I'm hearing, and I just had this conversation with Jamie Anderson, who does the Eastern Delaware County Collaborative, that DEP is talking that if no one has made any effort with the total suspended solids reduction, they will be required to get an individual permit. And I just don't want that, all the work that goes
Yes.
into that. I don't want the borough to get into that situation that we would have to do that, because it's much more stringent than the general permit that we have currently. Now, I just wanted to mention that, make sure that we're all on the same page. We may have to, I have that Memorial Gardens, that Greenways grant is for the rain garden, for green region, so.
That's why.
They're adjacent.
Yeah.
And you can see where water has kind of like.
You can, yeah, I know, it
It's-
was a
it's
perfect
needed.
spot for it.
Yeah.
And that's why when we were over there that day with Joe, it is a perfect spot.
Mhm.
So, and that's something we should look into come June when the Memorial Garden's done. Move forward to the next one.
And I can report general progress.
Okay. After all that. Ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to entertain a motion to accept change order number 1 to Divine Brothers in the amount of $23,244 for an additional unit number 4 and the replacement of a condensation pipe for a total contract amount of $81,400.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved. Anybody have any questions for the engineer?
Is this the time we should start looking to have street sweeping kind of in place, like a monthly thing to be 100% up and running for that? Because we had talked about sharing like a monthly thing with Upland 4 years ago, as far as that goes.
We're supposed to be doing street sweeping annually under the plan.
So, I mean, that might be something that as a group we should start looking into. And it actually helps the curbs last a little bit longer, makes everything look better, and I think we definitely get benefits for the solids, I forget what you call them.
Suspended solids.
Yes.
The other part of that is that you don't have all of those, all the grease and all of the dust, I'm gonna call it dust and dirt that's along the side of the road going into the inlets. The line's gotta clean out that. So it's a win.
Something to think about. Mr. Wills, we have the solicitor's report.
Thank you, Madam President, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. The March 19th Solicitor's Report is as follows. Number 1, 133 East Roland Road. The property owner there had filed an application for special exception in order to conduct a home-based federal firearms license business. Said business traditionally involves the sale, transfer, and manufacturing of firearms. This case was heard before the zoning hearing board on Thursday, March the 6th at the municipal building. I appeared before the zoning hearing board on behalf of the borough in opposition to the application request for zoning relief. I am pleased to advise that the zoning hearing board voted unanimously to deny the special exception request. 2 delinquent trash fee accounts. Earlier this week, my office filed 10 trash fee municipal liens with the Delaware County Court of Common Pleas. Again, this action was only taken after I had previously provided written notice to all those property owners back in February, advising them, of course, they would have 30 days to satisfy their financial obligations to the borough. And if not, of course, the municipal liens would be filed pursuant to law. And of course, with those municipal liens comes additional court cost fees, attorney's fees, and interest on those delinquent accounts. Number 3, 20 West Roland Road. Again, this property is scheduled to go to sheriff's sale this Friday as a result of a mortgage foreclosure. The subject property has 3 municipal liens filed against it for delinquent trash fee accounts. My office has notified the Delaware County Sheriff's Office of the delinquencies. I provided a payoff notice for the total amount due the borough, which of course would include court costs, attorney's fees, and interest. 4, the State Ethics Commission. Again, I politely remind the mayor, all our council members, all publicly appointed officials, including members of the Zoning Hearing Board and the Civil Service Commission, that they are required to file a statement of financial interest with the Borough Secretary's office on or before May the 1st of 2025. Again, I highly encourage everyone to comply, file an original, and retain a copy for your personal records. Number 5, the Fire Marshal's Protective Safety Jacket. Pursuant to Section 1201 of the Pennsylvania Borough Code, my office placed an appropriate legal ad in the Delaware County Daily Times soliciting bids for the sale of surplus property, specifically the Fire Marshal's Protective Safety Jacket. The borough has received a bid in the amount of $1,600, which I believe represents fair market value, and accordingly, I recommend awarding of that bid proposal to Mr. Michael Daly. 6, professional services agreement with Colliers Engineering and Design. My office has drafted a revised contract with Colliers Engineering and Design of New Jersey for the borough's mini park recreation and open space plan for a contract price not to exceed $38,590. Again, if it is the pleasure of Borough Council, a motion would be in order to adopt said contract with Colliers Engineering, and I believe that is under the new business agenda. 7, the Edgemont Avenue Storm Sewer Repair Contract, as the borough engineer alluded to at its council's last meeting back on February the 12th, it had awarded a base bid contract to Abazino Contractors of Conshohocken, Pennsylvania, in the amount of $107,842 for the Edgemont Avenue Storm Sewer Repair Project. My office has prepared the necessary contract documents and has further requested that the contractor submit to the borough the requisite certificates of insurance and bonds. We are presently awaiting the executed contracts from the contractor. And with that, Madam President, I can report general progress.
Any questions for the solicitor?
Yes.
Looking at Lisa.
20 West Roland, how much do you have?
I don't have that, but I believe there are 3 municipal liens, and I believe each of those are approximately $700.
Okay.
So I would approximate an amount of approximately $2,000.
Okay. Thank you, that's all.
Sarah, I think Jay has answered your question on the Edgeland Avenue, that we're waiting for contracts. That as soon as we get them executed, we will start. I know, I can't wait. Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we have called to citizens on non-agenda related items. If anybody would like to address council with a question or concern, please come up and ask us. Okay, then, we're gonna move on. Motion to award the fire marshal's coat to Mr. Michael Daly. He has submitted a offer of $1,600 for the fire marshal's safety jacket listed in the advertisement that our solicitor placed in the Delaware County Daily Times, and it is as is condition. So I'll entertain a motion.
Second.
Any questions? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? Mr. Platt, would you notify Mr. Daly that the jacket is here?
Bring a check.
Bring a check.
I laugh because he's called me a few times.
Tell him.
He's actually away this week.
Oh,
So I told him it would be awarded tonight, but he's away, so I'll deal with him next week.
Yeah, I know
Tell him to
Mr.
bring it
Daly
in.
is a reputable
Certified.
person.
certified check.
What we generally would require is, certified funds.
That's what we know where to find
Again,
it.
I know he's reputable,
Yeah.
but some people, sometimes checks, they
Right.
bounce every once in a while, Mr. Platt.
Once or twice.
So I've been,
Just once or twice.
so I've been told, yes.
I never did that in my lifetime.
I'll entertain a motion to approve $100 donation to the Aston Public Library.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Ladies and gentlemen, I have put out an email requesting anybody's input as to the road program for 2025. Mr. Capabianco has stated that the unit block of Beechwood is in poor repair, especially a sinkhole in front of 18 Beechwood. Do we have any other streets that need repaired for our 2025 road program?
Yeah, I got some more for you.
Go ahead.
So the intersection of Crozier and Beechwood. Every time I take the fire truck down there, everybody in the back hits the ceiling because there's a dip there in that intersection.
It's traffic calming.
Is there any way we could prove that?
Stops people from speeding, doesn't it?
Well, I don't
I'm
have
kidding, I'm kidding.
my firefighters being injured in the back.
All right, we'll put that on the list. Anybody else?
I was kind of under this impression that some of the funds were going to be for like unit blocks for tie-ins when they did the pipes. Because some of those steel plates go over, like, can we include some of those? So it's like,
What do you mean?
like when they do the actual major repairs for the the state repairs and the
Edgeland
storm
Avenue?
sewer. Yeah, but those unit blocks after, like the tie-ins and everything.
Not eligible.
No,
There's no.
No, not for that, to tie into the new pavement that's gonna come from when they do all
Oh,
that.
the state, yeah.
Well,
Like the
we're
unit
not
blocks
doing the
are-
restoration. PennDOT's gonna repave the road. So we're not doing the
Like the unit blocks where it's,
top coat.
you know what I'm saying, like
Right.
where it goes from like the unit number,
Roadway
you know,
on two.
to basically where the tie-ins would be. So like once you start the turn, so it's like a new fresh pavement from, Edgemont Avenue to
Forest
100,
View.
Forest View to like
Garrison.
your house, like that unit block, I guess is what we always called it.
How much money is in $26,000 in the liquid fuels? That'll get you about a half of a block of paving.
Well,
I'm gonna suggest to you that we defer a road program until next year, unless you think that you're gonna get.
Well, we've got some county aid, but I have to tell you that the unit block of Beechwood is in extremely poor condition. So if we only do the unit block of Beechwood and then right at the corner of Crozier and Beechwood, at least we can estimate it out.
So before we do anything on Beechwood, the sinkhole that you're referring to, do we know why there's a sinkhole? Is
Nope.
there a storm sewer? Is there a sanitary lateral that is?
Yeah, up
Right.
from here to the wall. There's sinkhole, there's Sarah's house, and then up, it will be, yeah, it'll be a manhole right there. So it might be caving in, who knows? But I drive the fire truck down there, we're afraid it's gonna cave in.
All right, let's do this. Further into new business, we have a motion to authorize the engineer to bid out the 2025 road program. So let's, at this point, say we're going to have the engineer review the estimates for just those two areas.
Yes.
The unit block of Beechwood, and that way your personnel can go in and see what is the sinkhole. And then look at the corner of Crozier and Beechwood, and that'll do it, because we don't have the funds to go any further.
Yeah, okay, that's fine. I just don't want to pave over something if it's a
There's like
sanitary
something
lateral. Number one, the borough is not responsible to repair a sanitary lateral. Delcora has it from the main to the clean out that's typically between the curb and the sidewalk. And then the homeowner has from that clean out into their property. So, I don't want to throw good money after bad.
The sinkhole is like in the middle of the street.
It's
It's not close to the curb at all. It's in the middle of the
So then it
street.
could very well be the main. Has anyone contacted Delcora? All right, I'll do so tomorrow. All right, okay.
Thank you.
I'm not trying to dissuade you from doing it.
No,
I just wanna make sure that-
you
It's
make a lot of
not-
sense, it makes
a lot of
sense.
sense.
Yeah,
Why put a Band-Aid on something that could
exactly.
become even
Let's
a
find out
bigger
what's going
problem?
on underground before we fix the top of the ground.
Yeah.
I'm fine with that.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have Resolution 1890, a resolution authorizing the application to Delaware County Council for an allocation of county liquid fuel tax funds for 2025 for the municipal roadways street improvement program for 2025. Whereas the undersigned municipality desires to take advantage of the act approved by June 1st, 1945, subsection 1242 as provided in the act approved May 18th, 1945, PL 803, permitting counties in the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania to appropriate and expand monies for improvements and maintenance of state highways and state aid highways or public highways in any county of the Commonwealth. Therefore, be it resolved that we, the officials of Parkside Borough, Delaware County, Pennsylvania, in regular session assembled on this 19th day of March 2025, do hereby make application to County Council of Delaware County for an allotment of county liquid fuel tax funds in the amount of $1804 to be used for the 2025 road street improvement program. I'll entertain a motion to approve and adopt Resolution 1890.
Second.
Any questions on the resolution? All those in favor? Aye. All those opposed? So moved. I'd like to go back to the road program, to entertain a motion to have the engineer look at the sinkhole on Beechwood and gather the figures to bid out the 2025 road program. And I'd like council to remember, we're limited funds because of the street light program for 3 years now, and we have not paid for that. So with the 26,000 and the county aid of less than 2,000, we have to be mindful of what we're doing. But I'd at least like to get a motion on the floor to authorize the engineer to proceed to review the streets that we recommended for the 2025 road program and proceed with producing the bid specifications.
Second.
Can I ask a question? For the engineer, is it prudent to go forward with that before contacting Delcora to see what's going on with the
Well, I'm gonna contact Delcora, ask them to come take a look. They'll probably video the main. They have the equipment. They have 2 trucks actually that will video the interior of the main to see if there's anything going on. Typically, you can see if it's something within the lateral. Because it could very well be that it's the lateral coming out and the sinkhole is not anywhere near either the main or the water's just getting into that point, and that's where it's where it's sinking. Is there an actual hole in the road?
It's starting to.
It's
I'll mark it
So it's a
tomorrow.
It's
depression.
a
Yeah,
depression.
I'll mark it tomorrow.
Okay,
There's an actual hole. It's like this.
it's probably a
big. And you
pinhole.
can see
so-
like a foot into it.
Yeah, no, that's fine. I'll just contact that group and see if they can get somebody down there to take a look. They're usually pretty good at getting that done. Maybe it may be a week, and I'll be able to do what I need to do. We're required, in order to accept the money from the county for county aid, we're required to bid the project by June 30th, have the project completed by September 30th, and have the closeout report by October 30th.
And that's one reason I want to keep
So,
this moving.
Yeah,
If we don't authorize the engineer to proceed to look into the hole and figure out the calculations, what we're gonna need money-wise for these two areas, then we postpone it until April. We don't bid out and receive bids until May. Now we're behind the 8 ball on the timeframes. Any other questions or concerns? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a professional service agreement concerning the grant that we've all talked about for Collier, and this is the Parkside Borough Mini Park Recreation Open Space Grant. I'll entertain a motion to adopt the professional agreement with Colliers to proceed with this grant.
Second.
Any questions on the motion? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? So moved. Council, do you have any old business, new business, or in between? I was gonna say monkey business, you thought I was.
The only thing I was gonna say is it's quite nice to see the participation of the firehouse. Like Chief Leamy, he's a volunteer too, and to draft like a solid report like what he's been giving us, it's commendable, because that's not what, if you ask your firefighter to do something, he's gonna fight fires, drive trucks, do things like that. So it's a blessing that he'll actually draft up a report like that for us. So
Very much so.
Also,
I appreciate it.
Madam President, if I could add, today I picked up, and I'd like to thank our students at Parkside Elementary School and parents and staff. They contacted me to let me know that they had 2 more bags of food that was donated from the fundraiser that they did for the food pantry at our fire company. So I went over, and Tracy Weaver, that works in our office at the school, had contacted me. So I just wanted to thank them for that.
Thank you, and thank you for everyone involved with the food pantry.
How about if I make a motion to adjourn?
How about that?
Yeah.
I get a second? Second. All in favor? Thank you, everyone, and thank you for coming out this evening. I knew I had to say that.
I'm only have 2 of them, once for you.